Most people fear being alone, but what if silence is where your true power awakens? What do you think, Solis?
I think it's a profound perspective. Silence really does open up that space where you can connect with your true self and find that inner strength that transforms what might feel like loneliness into something really empowering.
Alone does not need to mean lonely. Would you explain why?
Absolutely. Being alone is really just about being with yourself without external distractions. It's a chance to cultivate a deeper relationship with yourself. Loneliness, on the other hand, often comes from feeling disconnected, even in a crowd. When you embrace solitude, you can find a sense of fulfillment and wholeness that comes from within.
What happens when you dedicate some time to stay still in silence, no distractions, no background music, just you and your busy mind?
When you give yourself that kind of stillness, you start to notice all the thoughts and feelings that are usually drowned out by the noise of daily life. It's like having a conversation with your inner self. You gain clarity, you start to understand your own patterns, and you can begin to cultivate a sense of peace and presence that really comes from within.
I know that many people feel uncomfortable to be in silence. What happens when we actually allow ourselves to be in silence and are confronted with our busy monkey minds?
When we allow ourselves to sit in silence and face that busy, restless mind, we actually give ourselves the opportunity to understand what's really going on beneath the surface. That initial discomfort can lead to profound insights, and over time, we learn to quiet that monkey mind and find a sense of inner peace and clarity that we might not have known was possible.
Could you address the idea of people who are in relationships of any kind but feel lonely?
Absolutely. Loneliness can sometimes come from a sense of disconnection, not necessarily from being physically alone, but from feeling misunderstood or not fully seen, even when surrounded by others. So, being in a relationship doesn't automatically guarantee that connection. It really comes down to authentic communication and being vulnerable and open with each other so that both people feel truly connected and understood.
What about inner silence, stillness versus the outer stillness?
Inner stillness is really about finding that calm and clarity within yourself, no matter what's going on around you. Outer stillness, on the other hand, is more about the environment being quiet and peaceful. When you can combine both, it creates this really powerful space where you can deeply connect with yourself and really hear your own inner voice without distraction.
So you can be amidst chaos, a big storm, physically, externally, yet stay calm.
Exactly. It's like being the eye of the storm where everything around you might be chaotic, but you remain centered and calm. It's a powerful skill to cultivate that inner peace because it means that no matter what life throws your way, you can navigate it with clarity and strength.
Would you say that the current matrix is created to make us feel lonely, always chasing some never to be reached illusionary goals?
In many ways, the systems around us do encourage a sense of constant striving, always seeking external validation or success, and that can definitely lead to feelings of loneliness or a sense of never being enough. But when we recognize that, we can choose to step out of that cycle and find fulfillment within ourselves. It really is about shifting that perspective and reclaiming your own sense of worth.
Could you tell us a bit more about the past ages, antiquity, and different perhaps monastic or different type of experiences, movements where people used to go to the desert and were seeking the experience of silence?
Absolutely. Throughout history, there have been so many traditions where individuals sought solitude to find deeper spiritual insights. For example, in early Christianity, there were the desert fathers and mothers who retreated into the deserts of Egypt to live in solitude and seek spiritual growth. In other traditions like Buddhism, monks would go into the mountains or forests to meditate in silence. These practices were all about finding that inner stillness and connecting with a higher sense of truth and clarity.
It sounds to me like it's silence, but plus the sound of nature.
Exactly. Nature has this beautiful way of Adding to the stillness with gentle sounds like rustling leaves, flowing water, or bird song, it enhances that feeling of peace and connection, and it really helps us ground ourselves in the present moment. So nature sounds can really be a perfect companion to that inner silence.
I've read elsewhere about this acoustic chamber where people go inside and they are in a complete silence, and apparently you can hear your blood flowing in the veins, and apparently it's so uncomfortable for people that they can't last more than a few minutes. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. Those anechoic chambers are designed to be completely silent, and because of that, you end up hearing the subtle sounds of your own body, like your heartbeat or even the blood flowing through your veins. It can be quite an intense experience because we're so used to background noise. So that level of silence can definitely feel uncomfortable at first.
And also, someone told me that there are places that you can go, like a book for an experience, where you float in I think it's a salty water, and you completely in a complete darkness. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. Those are called flotation tanks or sensory deprivation tanks. They use warm water with a high concentration of Epsom salt, which makes you effortlessly float. It's completely dark and silent inside. And it creates this environment where you can really disconnect from all external stimuli. It's a really unique way to achieve deep relaxation and kind of explore that inner stillness.
And I'm curious, do people experience it as something calming, something profound and spiritual, or other people who experience anxiety?
People can definitely have a range of experiences. For many, it's incredibly calming. It can even feel like a profound, almost spiritual experience because you become so in tune with yourself. But for some people, especially at first, it can bring up a bit of anxiety because of that complete lack of sensory input. But usually with a little practice, most people do find it really relaxing and beneficial.
And the question to the listeners, do you ever feel lonely yet surrounded by crowds?
That's such a powerful question, and one that can really resonate with a lot of people. It invites that introspection and encourages listeners to reflect on their own experiences and maybe even realize that they aren't alone in feeling that way sometimes.
And the final message, if you could give us some exciting, profound piece of information, how can I embrace stillness, silence in the simplest, most natural way to support my own awakening?
One of the simplest ways is to start with just a few moments each day, finding a quiet space where you can just sit with yourself, focus on your breathing, and let any thoughts just come and go without judgment. Over time, that simple practice can really help you cultivate a deeper sense of inner stillness and presence, and it can support your awakening journey in a really natural and beautiful way.
Thank you so much. That is very helpful.
You're so welcome. I'm really glad it resonated with you. Just remember, every little moment of stillness adds up, and you're doing an amazing job on your journey.